Lovely, good evening Zambia, good evening Africa, and warm welcome to the analysis program right here on KBN TV from Zambia's capital city Lusaka with me, Innocent Piri. You can simply call me IP. We've got quite a number of stories that are up for discussion this evening. Remember, we are found on DSTV channel 279, GoTV channel 27, and also Topside Decoder channel 102. Now, some of the stories that have been lined up this evening for you is the stone-throwing Chingola residents and the abrupt exit of President Hakainde Hichilema from Chiwempala. Another story, international reaction to Samia's inauguration ceremony of Tanzania. Nevers Mumba, controversial rebranding of the MMD to NNP, and Makebi Zulu visit to Chimbokaila, meet Wina and Lubinda. We've got brand Mundubile receives endorsement from 29 PF MPs, and Nakacinda bail appeal hearing is on, of course, this week. Allow me to introduce the people who are helping me to analyze or break down some of the stories that made headlines during the course of the week. But in case you were out of the country, and welcome back to Zambia, and welcome to KBN TV, a television where we call a spade a spade. PK is in the studio already. I met one gentleman, I'm sure he's watching. He did mention to me that I'm already on standby. Go and greet Pastor Kennedy Mambwe, or PK is right here in the studio, and welcome to you. You told me not to mention your name, and I'll hold on to that. PK, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, IP, and good evening to our esteemed dear viewers. Thank you so much for always choosing to keep us company.
Thank you. Someone actually was greeting you I met along the way, and he says, I follow that man, and I love his passion.
Thank you.
Greet him. Don't mention my name.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And speech analyst as well. Allow me to welcome you to the program as well.
Thank you very much, IP, and good evening to our dear viewers. It's a blessed Sunday. We don't need to take for granted the gift of life that God gives us, and it is always a pleasure to join our viewers and in Zambia and wherever they are watching us from. And some of them, we meet them on the streets of Lusaka, in compounds, in many other places. Thank you very much.
All right, these are the stories we have for the program this evening on the analysis program. Now we'll look at the story number one. PK, I think when we were coming up with the lineup this week, of course, we thought we could start our analysis from somewhere, but wow, the story of President Hakainde Hichilema and the Chiwempala residents, throwing stones at him, very unfortunate event which happened in Chingola, has taken a center stage. Let's first of all watch these videos from Chingola and what transpired to the head of state, President Hakainde Hichilema. Quite unfortunate, but we'll be able to discuss these issues in the manner they're supposed to be discussed. We watch these videos in case you didn't watch.
So we've come here because of the fire here at Chiwempala. When we saw the fire happening, we were very, very distraught. We are very sorry to all those who are trading here, who have lost their stores, who have lost their merchandise, who have lost money here. We are sorry about that. That's why we're here to find a solution to the fire that took place here.
Pakumono kweba ati market ya piano omuliro inenga kateeka wenu na titetinta ndalevye mkopa belt kamfike kuli ichichiriro umboneko nala apo abantu.
Leave those guys there, leave them.
Varia who wanted to disturb us in Chingola, yesterday I hear they are planning to disturb the polling station Ninshi Kulefyo Barefwaya. When we won, I told you not to revenge, not to beat anybody. Bafile bale chindika. Mule umpaka? Bafile bale stashani? We protected them because you would have nailed them, eh? You could have nailed them. I protected them. They must not extend their life. We protected them because you would have nailed them, eh? You could have nailed them. I protected them. They must not extend their lucky.
All right, this is what transpired in Chingola as of yesterday, and quite unfortunate events or pictures there. Quite interesting that the president has also spoken his mind regarding that issue, which is quite, disturbing to many Zambians. I'll start with you, PK.
IP, first of all, let's be very clear. The events of Chingola yesterday are very unfortunate. Totally unfortunate. Very unacceptable. I say very unacceptable because the office of the president must be protected and must be respected at all times. You know, there must be a way of expressing grievances. Even if you are very upset, you cannot disrespect the office of the president in that manner. Let's be very clear on that. Now, having said that, we must also take this as a point of reflection. Because if you understand the office of the president, the office of the president has this level of protection. Now, for anyone to pick a stone and be so courageous to aim a stone at the head of state, I don't know what would have gone into one's mind to want to do that. I have heard most people are saying, oh no, this is a level of criminality, the hooliganism. Granted, the question is, what is it that would have compelled someone to take such a huge risk upon themselves, because they could be taken out for threatening the life of the head of state. So the question then that we need to ask ourselves is, what is it that would have compelled 1, 2, 3, 4, or however many these people were, to pick stones and aim at the head of state, risking their own lives? That is the question. So before we condemn and call it hooliganism, let's reflect and say there must be some underlying factors that would have compelled people to behave in a manner that they behaved. The question is, are they being listened to? Do they have issues that they want to express? Are there avenues and processes within which they can, convey their feelings or their disquiet? Is it that this was the only opportunity they had to express themselves, but couldn't they have found a better way to express themselves? These are very pertinent questions that needs to be asked. Now, even before we ask those questions and find answers to those questions, first of all, that's one of the worst security breaches I've ever seen. Who allows people to climb a tree behind the head of state? I just noticed. I never paid attention. But as I was watching it here in studio, I just realized that there were people on a tree right behind the head president. Of state.
Director, we can have that picture on the screen.
I'm wondering.
For illustration's sake.
That was such a huge security breach. I saw people in vantage. You see that at the back there's someone wearing red in the tree. I believe that, and then in the far you could see another horde of people standing at a vantage point. These are huge security risks. Even in front, I saw people climbing vantage points. Clearly, I believe we could have done better. You cannot expose the head of state to this level. You cannot be so careless as to, have such kind of glaring breaches. I am a non-security person, but I can see this. I'm not a trained person, but it is very clear. Look at those people at the back there's a guy wearing blue there and white. In the back, you can see them. Our dear viewers, you can see that. There's a guy in the tree wearing red between the interpreter and the shoulder on the, is that?
To the left.
The left shoulder to the president. There's a gentleman wearing red in a tree. That is dangerous.
And that was not prevented at all.
That was not prevented. Now, here is my question. Does it mean that we didn't have reconnaissance that went ahead to investigate and determine the dimensions of the security that would prevail in this, location? If indeed we didn't have, then that is a huge failure and that must be investigated.
Right.
Is it possible? I know the president is very conservative. He doesn't want to spend public resources. Is it possible that they were trying not to have a huge security detail in advance, and so it's a cost-saving measure? Would that be the case?
You can't compromise on security.
But you cannot compromise the security of the head of state. If money has to be spent, money must be spent.
Exactly. I mean, we're preventing one person. We only have one president.
Yes.
So you're right, Pige.
We have only one president. Yes. So there is no way for... I don't know whether... I'm just saying, what could have happened? What could have gone wrong? Because if there was a police detail, reconnaissance, intelligence ahead of this trip, they would have already given a debrief to say Chiwempala market is not good at the moment because of the fire, because of the who are these Jerabos, all right? So they could have gathered all of this information. The question is, did they gather? Did they advance these reasons? Who stopped them, from adhering to the recommendations of the security detail? I saw the communications, chief communications officer from State House saying, I take full responsibility. Are you sure you can even say you take full responsibility? He admitted publicly on his post that this particular issue of going to Chiwempala was not on the program.
So which one should we get, PK? Sorry, not to cut you shortly, because when you read the statement from Mr. Frank Walia, he said the visit by the president at that particular area yesterday, it was part of the officially commissioned agenda or trip. Then the chief communications officer comes in and says it was not part of the agenda.
And he takes full responsibility.
Exactly. So which one should we follow here?
So I don't know. And that's why people say the M23, they confuse each other. Everyone wants to run ahead of the rest to say something.
And yet they are coming from the same camp.
Coming from the same camp, issuing conflicting statements. Very confusing.
Yeah.
So if it was not on the agenda, why did you allow the president to find himself there?
Exactly.
To embarrass him in the manner that he got embarrassed, to threaten his life in the manner that his life was threatened. This should never happen. And if at all there are people within the presidency who are not listening to the security intelligence about where the president is supposed to be going, this is a point of reflection, and they need to rethink, because this is putting the life of the head of state at greater risk. And so if anyone is not taking intelligence briefing seriously, here is a case in point that every day you must take this Chingola as a reminder. But I'm a little bit concerned here, IP and our dear viewers. I am concerned because after what happened, the president on his Facebook, whether it's him or his handlers, posted something to say we went and met our fellow Zambians in Chingola, and they raised some issues, which issues they should consider them almost done, almost assuring that whatever issues were raised, the issues will be dealt with. But today here he is in Kitwe, speaking at a rally, saying those people want to plan to destabilize the polling stations. When did the narrative change from the concerns that they raised to now today saying they want to disrupt the polling station? Polls are next year. So why does that thing come in today? I am a bit confused and concerned about the conflicting statements coming from the president. Yesterday he said we heard the concerns of the people from Chingola. Today he says I hear they want to disrupt the elections at some polling stations. Those conflicting statements from the head of state are very concerning right now. And I think we need to tread cautiously. What kind of message are we sending?
All right, let's hear from the speech analyst. Maybe before you come in, there is a video that I would want us to play. Or maybe let me give you the chance before you lose your thoughts.
Well, thank you very much, IP. And ably put by PK. There are a lot of issues when you look at the video that seem not to be in order. When you are... I'll try to avoid security issues. I'll speak from the point of a speech analyst, sometimes who is engaged by politicians to go in the field and assess the field, then come back to this politician and tell them to say, where you are going, this you need to expect A, B, C, D. In this case, I want to understand that based on the statement that Mr. Hamasaka said, that the visit of the president to Chiwempala market was not on the program. Fine. But from what I know, Chingola district has got intelligence officers who report to the provincial intelligence office on the Copper Belt on a daily basis. So regardless of whether the program, the meeting the president held in Chiwempala was not on the program, that the president should visit there, that is a non-issue.
Security and intelligence should be everywhere.
Top-notch every day.
Interesting.
So that is not a non-issue. And like I've always said, I always have trust issues with Mr. Cresson Hamasaka. Because from what I've said, this is what happens in the field. There was a time a similar incident happened to the late President Edgar Lungu. Again, it should have been the same market or another market on the Copper Belt province.
Yeah.
So the president late President Edgar Lungu went on an official visit to the Copper Belt, and this particular market that was gutted by fire was not on the official program that the president should visit.
Yeah.
But the president changed course and he went and visited that market. There was nothing as such that we witnessed yesterday. So what went wrong in this gathering or incidents is something that a number of people may not have paid attention. If truly the people were sent, there were some elements like, let me say, enemies within the crowd that had gathered to see the president.
Yeah.
I'm wondering why there was no citizens arrest by anyone within the crowd, because according, for instance, to Jito Kayumba, it says there were about 20,000 people.
Yeah.
And only 5 people tried to throw a stone at the president. But I'm also wondering why there was no one who attempted or to arrest, to effect citizens' arrest on any person who was trying to stone the president. That is something that I want to say. I think there are a lot of things that went amiss for this particular visit.
All right.
One of the things that went amiss is the messaging aspect. I've paid attention to what people have been saying in most of these videos that have been posted online.
Yeah.
The language of the people who gathered at that meeting did not resonate well with what the president was talking about. Some of the videos that I've seen, people are complaining about hunger.
Yeah.
And people were complaining about Senseli mine. When are you giving this mine to us, the youths on the Copper Belt? I also understand that the government has got the right motive to close the mine because of when it caved in, the last time they were operating on it, a number of people died. And that did not go well with the government. I do agree with the government.
Yeah.
So, lastly, as I conclude on this matter, I want to say there's a need by Zambians, regardless of how you perceive Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, regardless of if you say Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is the causer of the high cost of living, for instance, the mini meal, the fuel, and is also the causer for the prolonged electricity load shedding. Stoning Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is not the solution to reduce the price of mini meal. Stoning Mr. Hakainde Hichilema and disturbing his public address to members of to citizens of this nation will not bring back 20 hours of electricity. Stoning Mr. President will not resolve all the problems that we Zambians are facing. It is upon all the aspiring presidential candidates in the opposition to condemn such acts. There is a difference between President Hakainde Hichilema and the presidents. The presidents remains even when the President Hakainde Hichilema will not be in State House. Why I'm saying so is that we have developed this culture in Zambia by political leaders not to condemn acts that undermine the office of the presidency. I'll cite an example. You remember when late President Edgar Lungu was handed in power to President Hakainde Hichilema.
Yeah.
The late President Edgar Lungu was booed at the Heroes National Stadium. Did President Hakainde Hichilema condemn such? He didn't. My view, I spoke that day to say President Hakainde Hichilema should have used that opportunity to say, my Zambians, let us not boo the former president. He did not use that privilege. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because we need to respect the office of the presidency, regardless of whatever divergent views we hold against him, whether you like him or not. The people of Zambia have elected him, and if people are going to disrespect the office of the president that you are going to occupy as the incoming president, then you do not, you are missing an opportunity to unite this nation. So my call, I like what Mr. John Sangwa has posted. He has condemned. He's one of the politicians that has condemned because he's in line to get into State House through his new political party. So this is what we need to inculcate in all Zambians. If someone disrespects the president like Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, if you are a president in waiting, you need to condemn such an act. And if the current president is there, something bad happens to a leader of the opposition, where, for instance, where UPND cadres are insulting presidential political leaders of other political parties, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema or the UPND should be able to condemn such acts. But if you don't condemn, you are creating a scenario where people begin to say, okay, nice zakaona, what they say to say, chaona mzako chapita, mawa chilipayo. I don't say that's what the adage says, but that is not what we should do. Inculcate in the spirit of one Zambia, one nation.
So quickly, let me just read two statements, gentlemen, then I will bring you in. I will start with a statement which was issued by a UPND member in Frank Walia. And the statement says, UPND clarifies the Chiwempala fracas involving President Hakainde Hichilema. Press statement which was issued by Mr. Frank Walia. Now, it says the United Party for National Development, UPND, wishes to clarify reports are circulating on social media indicating what occurred during the President Hakainde Hichilema's community engagement at Chiwempala Market in Chingola, Copperbelt Province on Saturday, November 8th, 2025. The UPND would like to confirm that the event was officially sanctioned and part of the President's continued community outreach program aimed at interacting with the citizens and supporting those affected by the recent Chiwempala market fire. During the engagement, a small group of boys climbed onto the roofs of the nearby shops in an attempt to have a clear view of the President as he addressed the large gathering. However, some of the roofs began to give away under their weight, prompting the police to intervene and instruct the youths to come down for their safety. Unfortunately, the youths insisted and began throwing stones at the police, leading to a brief fracas. The situation caused momentary panic among sections of the crowd, but it was quickly contained by the security personnel. It is important to emphasize that no one was injured and no property damage was significantly occurred. The situation was handled with professionalism and restraint by the police. President Hichilema had by then concluded. Now, I wanted to keep on marking the key pointers in here. President Hichilema had by then concluded his remarks and subsequently proceeded to Ndola's Levi Mwanawasa Stadium, where he attended the Nkana versus Power Dynamos debut match as earlier scheduled. The UPND wishes to assure the nation that the Chiwempala engagement was peaceful, mark that again, was peaceful, productive, and successful concluded. The president interacted with the local communities. A community donated 10,000 million kwacha to assist the traders affected by the market fire and reaffirmed the government's commitment to rebuilding their livelihoods on the Copper Belt. The party further commends the police for their professionalism and thanks the people of Chiwempala for their overwhelming support and hospitality during the president's visit. The UPND reiterates that what transpired was a minor and isolated incident, not politically, mark that again, not politically motivated, and should not be misinterpreted to undermine the success of the president's engagement in Chingola. Issued by Frank Walia, a Director General for Media, UPND Presidential Campaign Support System. So that is Mr. Walia. I'll read another statement now from Mr. Clayson Hamasaka, which says, State House Chief Communications Specialist Mr. Clayson Hamasaka warns against thuggery conduct. Now, the story reads, when he was in opposition, bullets sang past him, stones found his shoulders, and tear gas turned his house into choking night. The brutal attacks that were suffered by the first family can never be repeated. And now, having been elected by citizens into the highest office, some criminals want to continue that abuse against our president. Our president? No. These are the last sad kicks of a dying horse. Zambians will not permit it. I am proud of the security services that they did not open fire. Today, our schedule did not ordinarily include, mark that again, gentlemen. Today, our schedule did not ordinarily include Chiwempala, but the president himself insisted to visit the people who had lost their livelihoods. I take full responsibility for the last-minute change of a plan, but let us be clear. We will not sit idle by the law and order. But peace is what we voted for, and peace is what this president has delivered. That's according to Mr. Clayson Hamasaka. Before PK comes in to wind up, let's have this video, director.
President Kaunda was born in 1990. I was in the Independence Stadium then. President Kaunda entered, there was a football game there. He usually used to attend football games, international games, and he would play the first ball, right? Yes. When he entered this convoy, he was bold like never before. He was pelted with oranges, pelted with lemons, pelted with bananas. The decent Kaunda, KK, did not beat anybody. He stayed in the match. He didn't call anyone name. President, when you are not performing or you get booed, Mr. Lungu, you'll be booed more and more as we go to 2021. President.
Okay, so PK, just less than a minute, two things. The party, according to Mr. Walia, it's like they were informed that event was officially sanctioned by the system.
Look,
Mr. Hamasaka, he says it was not part of the plan.
I listened to you read both speeches or statements from the gentleman, Father Walia and Clayson. First of all, Father Walia, I would call that Idiashdia Panwesonde. No, Idiashdia Panwesonde.
Okay.
When we were listening to, short frequency radio, and you're listening to a Bemba program at Ifyabukaya, Idiashdia Panwesonde, you can believe because it's coming from ZNBC and there was no social media. You can believe.
So you would believe.
You would believe because Idiashdia Panwesonde is coming from Umulawasa, wachalo. But days have changed. Things have shifted. Today you have internet, you have digital media. Before ZNBC reported, we were watching these things live on social media. So for Mr. Bwalia to come and say the president had already concluded his speech, he was just starting. He was just starting there. He made his first statement, which was being interpreted, and the stone started to rain. So you can't lie to the Zambian people who are watching these things live and say the president had already concluded. Liashi Liapanwesonde Father Bwalia needs to be sincere. I can't believe whatever he said. Clayson Hamasaka was trying by all means to paint a narrative, but he misfired. He misfired because he became emotional in his narrative. And secondly, he misfired because he brought in odd things. Odd things like, that was happening to President Hakainde Hichilema while he was in opposition. Clayson Hamasaka failed to distinguish that the complaints of the Jerabos today have got nothing to do with the tear gassing of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema while in opposition. You cannot marry these things together. What was used as an excuse to tear gas him is totally different from the reasons why the suspected Jerabos would pick stones today and throw them at President Hakainde Hichilema. So managing that, taking people on a guilt trip, using past events and experiences, you will not create a narrative that speaks to the reality of what people in Chingola are facing. So that is a failure on the aspect of communication from Clayson Hamasaka, the chief communication specialist. The issue there is Senseli was, the Jerabos were part of the illegal miners at Senseli. Senseli was taken away from them, but we also know the president promised that he will give them licenses, mining licenses. He will connect them to partners. We know that the videos are there. That perhaps has not happened. We know for a fact that there were accidents that happened and these guys were taken out, but in the process the mines were handed over to well-established giants, so to speak. And the Jerabos feel left out. So when they are throwing stones, today, it has got perhaps nothing to do with what those that tear gassed President Hichilema in opposition, went through. I think these are two distinct issues, and I want us to be very clear in our minds, not to confuse what happened then and what's happening now. There is a thought that I need to land with here.
Please.
The thought is, when the Jerabos were taken out from Senseli, did the government organize a similar event to go and compensate the Jerabos? No, it didn't happen. Now there is a fire affecting, unfortunately, a number of traders. Very unfortunate. It shouldn't have happened. We see a huge gathering and a compensation of 10 million in total that was announced by Mr. Matambo. The question is, when the Jerabos are hearing that in their minds, are they seeing the equitable approach towards addressing plights of not having access to mining rights, equitable access to compensation because of an unfortunate fire? So you are seeing this sort of disparity. I'll call it disparity, where others have been taken out of a place where they were gaining and there was no compensation, and then the market bends, there is compensation.
There's a video you've referred to, PK. Sorry, my apologies, I don't want to disturb you, but let's watch this video and then you combine everything. We quickly end. Let's watch the video.
We will not cheat the way PF has been doing towards an election, they cheat that they've given the Jerabos Black Mountain. After the election, they withdraw the license. Or indeed, a share, percentage. Why should we give you a percentage? We'll give you a full mining license. And don't worry, we will help you raise capital. We know how to do it. Then, what else are we going to do? We will make sure that you mine in a safe way. You are given support. You mine with proper equipment, so we protect lives. Too many of our people are dying on those dams, dying in the small-scale mines because they are not given support, technical support, on how to mine in a safe way. We'll give you that. The people of Zambia. What else are we going to do? We will make sure that when you mine, for example, manganese, we've given you a license, yes, but you mine manganese, you are not selling the manganese rock, raw material. Because the raw material, you sell it at only $50 per ton. We want to increase value through value addition in our minerals, in our mines. We will put plants, manganese processing plants in Wapula, in Serenje. You, the young people, the Zambian people with your mining licenses, mining support, mining methods, safe methods. A plant only costs $10 million, an average small manganese plant. You bring in your raw manganese, instead of paying you $50 per ton, when you process, the value now increases from $50 to $1,600 per ton. And that's what we'll be selling, value addition. And then it means you as miners, citizens as miners in Wapula, in Serenje, will get more money per ton than they are getting now. They will be richer, they will be wealthier. That's my dream. After 5 years in office, I want to see more Zambians richer, more Zambians wealthier. Start sharpening.
Okay, so I'll continue with PK. Just quickly summarize as we move on.
Yeah, that's a video I talked about. That the president in opposition was addressing the Jerabos at Community House. He gave them a lot of hope of licenses, raising capital for them, creating plants, and he said, after 5 years, I want Zambians. This is the 4th year. He has 10 more months to go. No such plant has been, created in Serenje, for instance. He talked about. So when we are discussing the issues of why are these people throwing stones, we first of all started by condemning that act.
Yeah, of which we still maintain up to now.
We still maintain that was not right to throw stones at the president. Yeah. But are there underlying issues that might be causing people to feel left out, to feel, talked out of a deal or something? Are these some of the issues? Because if you had a conversation with the head of state and say, give me a vote, and when you give me a vote, I'll do this. And unless these things have been done quietly, I am not aware of Jerabos that have been empowered with capital or mining equipment or licenses. I am not aware unless these things have been done quietly. But regardless, throwing stones is out of the question. But you see, this is the issue of when there is lack of communication.
Yeah.
When there is the issue of lack of communication, unfortunate things like that could happen. But also they could have been avoided. Mr. Amasaka says this was not part of the plan.
Yeah.
If it was not part of the plan, maybe the security briefing was Chingola is volatile. Yeah. Don't go there. But he says the president insisted that he wants to go there. So really, it's very difficult from where we are seated to fully comprehend and understand the dynamics that led to the throwing of stones. But as we have always said, in analysis, you cannot pick one event and say we'll analyze this alone, in the absence of what did the president say to the Jerabos, what has happened to the Jerabos, and why are the Jerabos throwing stones today? You need to have a very holistic,
comprehensive,
very holistic
analysis.
view. Then you can say we can come up with conclusions or suggestions as to why perhaps some of these things are happening. But I want to end with this.
Sure.
President, I've seen most people saying, this is hooliganism, this is criminality, the president survived tear gassing and all of this. But the video that you earlier showed, the president speaking at Community House, saying if Mr. Lungu does not perform well, people will pelt at him, will throw tomato at him. He gave an example of Kaunda.
Yeah.
Kaunda was pelted. Mr. Lungu, according to President Hichilema in opposition, he said, Mr. Lungu will still be booed if people are not pleased with his leadership.
Yeah.
So if people today throw stones at President Hichilema, is it possible that they are also not pleased with his leadership, according to his own submission in the video that we watched? Why should this particular booing or pelting be classified criminal, and the other one in the case of Kaunda and Mr. Lungu be classified as the reason being the leaders were not governing according to the expectations of the people? These issues, we must look at them and be very measured in how we interpret and project the messages, because in one breath you cannot claim this is criminality. In one breath, you justify that the pelting of Kaunda and the Lungu is because people are not pleased with your leadership. Maybe it could be the same measure.
Right. I know speech analyst, you want to come in.
Yeah, brief. Sorry.
I hope it's going to be brief indeed.
Okay.
So we move on.
No, I had a different version.
Okay.
But one thing that I want to say, when that matter happened, I didn't expect the president to issue a statement before the police. I understand he is the commander-in-chief, but he should have waited for the police to issue a statement. Here is why. Here is why. When he posted on his page, he said, our people, and I quote, our people also raised very pertinent issues affecting them in regards to the mine and their desire to continue mining at Senseri. The message is loud and clear.
Right.
And we will work around the clock to ensure that this is done. End of quote. Today, the president, he says, has shifted from this message. He has pointed at the political reason of their opponent trying to cause havoc in this country.
He has politicized them.
He has politicized the happening at Chiwempala. So the danger, when you do that as a president, from the analytical point of view, you now put pressure on the police to begin to arrest anyone from the members of the opposition.
Right.
That is wrong. So what I did expect the president to do was to wait for authorities. Yes, I understand he's the commander-in-chief, the police falls under him, but this is a crisis situation. This was a crisis situation. So we needed to have a crisis mechanism. What is the communication crisis to this issue? When you have a communication crisis as a nation, you are going to avoid the praise singing from my elder brother Frank Poirier and Mr. Cresson Hamasaka. Because when you read these two statements, and I read them, so from the analytical point of view, I looked at these statements to be coming from people who are praise singing for the president. But when I looked at the police statement, it explained what happened. It explained, it revealed certain things that we did not know. Did you know that the presidential portrait was bent
Not at all.
by members of the community in Chiwempala? We didn't know because it was not in the video. We only learned that when police issued a comprehensive statement.
Right.
And one of the challenges that I faced again from praise singers is the aspect to say, they started questioning, why should you just arrest two people? That is wrong. It is the duty of the police to effect an arrest, because there can be thousands of people who did not commit any crime.
Right.
So why do you want to arrest everyone so that you say, no, we have arrested 40 people? In the end, those people, they will find to be innocent and they are going to sue the government. So what I can encourage the government now, they have appointed some of my friends, what Mr. Emmanuel Mwamba calls them, the M23. That is a very group, competent people. Some of them have worked with them. I think the government cannot fail to come up with a crisis, a communication system that will respond to a crisis. We are going to avoid the imagine if the BBC quoted Mr. Abwaria or Mr. Creso Namasaka, then the police brought out this elaborate statement. We are embarrassing the country. I think let's leave praise singing. Let's continue praise singing on your Facebook pages and so on and so forth. But for issues that border on national security, such as an attack on the president, let's leave it to competent people
and officers.
And right. I think on this matter, I also don't understand why Mr. Greford Musamba left this issue to Grafel Musamba, left it to Mr. Ray Amonga. There's nothing wrong with Samia Ray Amonga, but it was a huge statement that Zambians and the international community wanted to listen to. So Mr. Musamba, as the police IG, he should have held the bull by its horn and deliver this message to the nation. I hold no grudge, no anything against Mr. Ray Amonga, but looking at the magnitude of something that has happened, a sitting head of state being stoned, disrupted, not even concluding his statement at a public place. That's how I look at it.
I can defend him, at least where I stand, because he has issued a statement as of today.
I meant yesterday.
I meant yesterday. Oh, you meant yesterday.
On the actual day. On the actual day.
Right.
On the actual day.
Interesting.
I looked at it. I think, you know, this is a very big issue. I think now you've seen it on international media.
Yes.
He should have issued a statement right there on the copper belt,
right.
Mr. Greford Musamba, to just, ensure that the president,
right,
our president, is very safe.
Right. So let's move quickly. We'll be spending a minute, each one of us. I hope we'll comply to that. We've spent a lot of time on this particular one story. Of course, we are looking at the magnitude of the story, and dealing with the head of state, really, you will have to spend more time. Let's look at the story number 2. Now, we'll take you to Tanzania, where, of course, there was an inauguration ceremony last week by Madam Samia Suluhu. Amidst the controversy, the protest by the people in that particular country, she went on to be inaugurated in a military barrack. According to her, she said, I chose to be inaugurated, to hold that event within the military barrack because the roads were blocked leading to other public venues. PK, within a minute.
Within a minute, the SADC have called this election a sham. The African Union have said it was never free nor fair. We saw dead bodies on the streets. We saw protests. We hear reports of monitors who had been left stranded and the internet was shut down. And we understand there were stuffing of ballot boxes. You can't have 32 million registered voters and you come out with the 97.6%. You are the most liked. If you are the most liked, why were the people protesting? If you are the most liked, why did you have some of your opponents jailed and locked up? So clearly, this was a sham. What is actually discomforting is that the international community, the region, most of those that were invited to go there didn't go there.
Yeah.
Apart from Mozambique, Zambia, Somalia, and
Burundi,
I think, yeah, something like that. Now, we can excuse Burundi, we can exclude the other one, Somalia, because the sins that we saw in this particular election are somewhat commonplace in their countries. But to see ourselves being represented by the head of state, it was very discomforting by most citizens, and certain sentiments within the regions that we shouldn't have gone there as a nation. As a democratic nation, we shouldn't have gone there, because by going there, it would appear that we were endorsing that kind of chaos, the massacre, the innocent blood. We were almost like we didn't mind about this. And I listened to the speeches. I never heard anyone, maybe because I watched edited clips, I didn't watch maybe the full speeches, but in the clips that I watched, I never heard any speaker offer condolences to the families of those who lost their loved ones, who died in the unfortunate situation of trying to protect and preserve the integrity of their democracy in that particular country, Tanzania. So if Miss Uhuru was that popular, the inauguration should have been in a stadium, not in a military controlled environment. So, speaking as a Zambian, I think based on the information that we have picked up, it was very discomforting that we were represented by our president. I think maybe he should have sent someone else, maybe a foreign affairs minister, because yes, we have strategic interest in Tanzania because of the port of Dar es Salaam, because of Tazara and Tazama. That we understand. But it is principle. Do we support how the elections were held? No, as a nation, we do not. That's why our head of state should have assigned to a lesser office. Maybe foreign affairs, or even our ambassador who is already there to represent him. But for him to be present there and make a statement and a speech as guest of honor in a land where dead bodies are still lying out of an election that the region has called a sham, I think this didn't sit well with us as citizens. It didn't sit well with the region. Kagame didn't go there. Mnangagwa didn't go there. Ramaphosa didn't go there. Mutharika didn't go there. And this lady in Namibia, Nandi, they didn't go there. So why don't they have interest in Tanzania? They do also have economic interest in Tanzania. Why should we take this as if it's our own election? The president should have gone to Malawi, where it was peaceful. The president should have gone to Zimbabwe. So really, there are a lot of questions that people are asking about why we chose as a nation to go and attend an inauguration that has been regarded to be a sham, and blood was shed.
Right. Comrade, your take?
I think the president was in between a hard press and the rock, and he failed to judge the political mood in Zambia, such that when he made that trip to Tanzania, which according to strategic reasons may be something that he could not have avoided, and he just needed himself to be there, and he did not want to trust his foreign affairs minister, not even the vice president or the defense minister, to go and represent him.
But he trusted them for the UN, the United Nations in New York. He trusted the
vice president.
No, he trusted Honorable Hakainde.
Hakainde, yes. You're right, PK.
So I think in going forward, the president really needs to be very careful and also lead the environment within Zambia before he makes some of these trips, especially if he's been given advice by his political advisors. Because why people have complained of President Hakainde Hichilema going to Tanzania is the pattern through which the president of Tanzania has made herself to be retained or to win that election, because most of the political opponents are behind bars. And when you look in Zambia, when you compare to Zambia, you find that most also political opponents of President Hakainde Hichilema are serving time in prison. So people are beginning to ask, say, is the president following suit of what is happening in Tanzania, or is it a coincidence?
Although they are not political leaders of
political parties,
yes,
but they are politicians.
Right.
So that could be the narrative that people are beginning to say, what is happening here? If we begin to compare and contrast, you'd find that there could be similarities of what is happening in Tanzania and probably what is pertaining in Zambia. So that could be a political debate that Zambians are having. But however, the president, like I said earlier on, he was in between a hard rock and a stone. So he just had to go, regardless of what Zambians say.
Bite the bullet.
I've gone and I've come back. At the end of the day, Zambians will forget about it. But if the African, the SADC region where President Hakainde Hichilema belongs, and the president also made a mistake when he was addressing, he spoke about SADC. Then before he could say it conclusively, he kind of said, no, I cannot speak on behalf of SADC. So that was again a mistake that he made on that podium. But the message that he delivered to President Uhuru is something that if the president of Tanzania can take up, it could help to reunite Tanzanians.
Right.
Because as we speak, I don't think the president of Tanzania is ruling a country that is united, because a number of people are disappointed with her because some of their political leaders are in prison.
All right. Let's now talk about the movement for Multi-Party Democracy, MMD, which has been rebranded according to Dr. Nevas Mumba. The name has now changed from MMD to National. Is it National Party?
New Nation Party.
New Nation Party. Interesting there. Let us listen to Dr. Mumba there, the president of the New Nation Party.
Following the 4-year consultation on the renewal of our political party, the 10 provinces resolved, amongst many other resolutions, that we change the tired name of our party from MMD to a new name, which represents our new vision and the aspirations of the younger generation of Zambians. Madam Chair, this 5th MMD Extraordinary Convention has today, in the early hours of today, ratified the report of the 10 provinces to change the name of our political organization. Fellow citizens, today, on the 6th of November, 2025, I have the rare privilege and honor to present to you the New Nation Party as our new outfit starting today. As we now transition from MMD to New Nation Party, and I would like for the members of this great crowd to now switch in 10 minutes, put on your new regalia, change everything, and you keep your eyes on the screen. The New Nation Party will maintain the working relationship with the UPND in order to serve the people of Zambia. On 30th of October 2024, the MMD signed a memorandum of understanding to form an alliance towards the 2026 election. This MOU remains in force under the new party name. As part of this MOU, I wish to reaffirm that I shall not put my name forward for presidency in the coming election, but shall support my brother, the candidature of President Hakainde Hichilema.
New Nation Party is the newly born baby in town, according to Dr. Nevas Mumba, the man who has held the position of MMD in the last over 5 years. PK.
Dr. Nevas Mumba is never short of controversies. Even in his statement, there are inconsistencies. First of all, he says in the early hours of today, we, the extraordinary, have ratified the name we. When he talks about contesting the president, he says, I have decided not to put out my name. I, singular. It was his choice. It was his decision. He never apportioned and attributed that choice to the extraordinary Congress as he apportioned the ratification of the rebranding of the party, which is in itself really is very controversial, because Dr. Mumba, if you are going to announce New Nation Party, why wouldn't it be easy for you to just register and say we have left MMD intact and we are migrating into a new outfit? You cannot obliterate what was built. As most people have said, that party produced 3 presidents. That party ended one-party state of Kaunda to introduce multipartism. Surely you cannot be the man to share the guilty of having obliterated that rich historic aspect of our democracy in Zambia. I really do not agree with Dr. Mumba. I know he has been struggling politically. The very fact that he doesn't want to stand as a president and he wants to put his support behind, the UPND speaks to his dwindling fortunes as a politician. I doubt the efficacy and the strength that the New Nation Party is going to give to the UPND if the results of 2021 is anything to go by. I still have in my mind, I think Dr. Mumba only had about 4,000 about 4,000 plus 4,025 or thereabout. That's all he had from across the country. So I do not think that there is any value that he will add to the UPND. If anything, Dr. Mumba is really holding on to the UPND as the only, survival tactic, so to speak, politically, because the people who believe in MMD are still, I think, is going to face some legal challenges over this rebrand. There are a lot of people who are teaming up right now against him to write to the Registrar of Society, to write to the President, to write to the Minister of Home Affairs. They are ganging up all the old guards, the Bitachintala, the Akashamba, all of them have said we cannot stand and watch one man bring down what we have built historically. And UNIP brought independence, and UNIP is still there. So why would Dr. Nevas Mumba be the only man who should change the fortunes of the political history of this nation? It's very disappointing, and I'm hoping that they will come to a place where they agree that yes, we are going with a new national party. MMD can remain intact. There was nothing difficult with him doing that, but to just wake up and say we are changing this is very unfortunate.
All right, speech analyst, your take over this.
I think political history needs to be preserved, because Zambia has had different political parties taking control of the nation. We had UNIP. When you look at the initials of UNIP, it is United Party for National Independence. the core of the political party was to gain independence from colonial rulers.
Yeah.
Then when we come to the movement for multi-party democracy, it was the reintroduction of multipartyism.
Yeah.
So that needed to be enshrined politically in the history books to say we had UNIP, we had MMD. UNIP had its own priorities. Came MMD under the late President Frederick Titus Jacob Chiruba, again different priorities. Liberalization of the economy was one of them. So we needed to have MMD as intact as UNIP. They may not have the political strength as they used to have, like UNIP, MMD, but we still needed the MMD to be within the political history, unlike dismembering the MMD to create a new nation party. The best way, if Dr. Mumba had managed to secure the presidency using the MMD, could have been the best way to rebrand the name. Because that way, it could have indicated that there is now a shift.
Right.
We had ushered in multipartyism, but now we have regained governance under the MMD, but we think we should now rebrand to New Nation Party because the ideologies and the demands have changed from the time we were MMD, and now they have changed. Because when you look at the UPND, for instance, the United Party for National Development. So the core values of the UPND is national development. We had the PF, Patriotic Front, meaning Zambians should be more patriotic and Zambians should be more empowered. So the best way, again, like I did say, was if Mr. Mumba had managed, like in 2026, to win the presidency, now he could have had the proper reason to justify why he is changing from MMD to NNP. That could have been the better way. But the way he has done, he was just using the structures of MMD to create a different political party. Because from what I'm seeing, Mr. Mumba does not want to be in conflict with other MMD members when his political career begins to change. We have already seen that he has indicated twice. Under the MMD, he said he is not going to contest the 2026 elections. He's not contesting as the president. But there's other room for, you can be a running mate, you can even be a member of parliament, you can even be a councillor. That he has not spoken about. But he's only told us that he doesn't want to be a presidential candidate. But he has not told us if he doesn't want to also to be a vice president or a councillor or a member of parliament. So what he has done, he has attracted political debate, and he's likely going to be to face backlash. And when that happens, he will just say, okay, you can get your MMD. As I move on, because he has already used the structures of MMD to create NNP.
Right, let's move on quickly as we wind up now. We look at Makebi Zulu, the spokesperson to the Lungu family, the late Edgar Chagwa Lungu's family. Spokesperson Makebi Zulu is now in the country. He arrived on a Friday thereabout, and the indications has it that he's about to file in his nominations for the PF presidency. Again, we can discuss this alongside the given Lubinda, who has successfully filed in his nominations papers for the president's position, and also information has it that also Chandaka Toto as well, he has also successfully filed in his nominations. Pike, your quick take over this.
Yeah, I mean, the entrance into the political space of Council Makebi Zulu is attracting a lot of chatter and talk. Others regard it to be controversial. Others consider it strategic. Others think he's trying to ride on the emotions of the nation, having stood by the late president as his lawyer He's been fighting on behalf of the family, the issue of burial and all of that. Now, he's coming, and the meetings he has had, you can clearly see the political intent.
Yeah.
He landed and went to see the former vice president.
Yeah.
He went to see the acting vice president of PF.
Party.
And then he went to visit some of the incarcerated members of the PF at Chimbokaila. Those were very strategic moves.
Yeah.
But let's not forget, most people feel he shouldn't have done this, because he stood as a lawyer to the late president.
Yeah.
He has been standing with the family, fighting alongside them, the issue of burial and honoring the wishes of the late president. Therefore, some people have even suggested that if he's gonna say President Hichilema should not attend burial because this was the wish, that word was respected when he was speaking as a family spokesperson. But if he's gonna say anything in those lines, now as a political competitor to President Hakainde Hichilema, it changes the dynamics. He then needs
Quite critical indeed.
Very critical. He then needs to,
relinquish
the spokesperson position and now be a political competitor on a fair playing field, so that if Mr. Hakainde Hichilema cannot attend burial, then he too may not have to perhaps speak if the family so wishes, because then he will not be speaking as a family spokesperson, he will now be speaking as a presidential aspirant. So the dynamics have changed, and so Council Makebi Zulu needs to reassess his involvement with the family, and he needs to reassess the new trajectory that he has taken. In most sentiments that have been expressed, people would say, no, maybe he should have waited until the burial, and others are even saying, so all these things of holding on to the wishes was so that he can gain momentum to launch his political move. So he has to deal with all of those things in the minds of the Zambian people. Whether or not the convention will happen is a different story altogether, because if you are going to pay nomination fee to PF, which PF will not be allowed to hold a convention, because at the moment it's not in the hands of the original PF. So we still are yet to see and know which political party the PF are going to use to hold a convention. The way we know the UPND and its administration have been applying the law and conducting themselves as far as the Public Order Act is concerned, I do not think that they are likely to give the PF permit to go and hold an elective convention when their right-hand man, as it were, Chavinga, is still the one they feel, holds on to the. So this one is a chess that we have to watch very closely. We do not know what form it's gonna take going forward, but it is interesting to see that finally they are likely to have that particular convention, but under what outfit is a bigger question.
Interesting. Given Lubinda filing in his nomination, you didn't comment on that?
So Honorable Given Lubinda filing in his nomination also changes his dynamics. He cannot be a presidential candidate and also be a referee in his acting capacity. So he has to relinquish that position so that he doesn't have any favors, undue influence that come with the office that is occupying. What is also very tricky is the fact that the substantive Secretary General is behind bars. So with Honorable Lubinda now becoming a candidate, the secretariat of PF will be on very shaky grounds because there is no substantive chief executive officer. We know there is Madam Nyerenda who will be enacting capacity, but she has to call the shots together with the rest of the members of the Central Committee. To be honest, this is an exciting and nail-biting moment for the political fortunes of Zambia. In the next 5 months, we're going to see political drama like we've never seen before.
Wow. Comrade?
I didn't expect Makebi Zulu to be in the race for presidency, especially before the demise of our former president, Edgar Lungu. I didn't know that he held presidential ambitions. So him coming into the fray, I'm asking questions to say, is he coming to replace former President Edgar Lungu so that he could defend the interest of the Edgar Lungu family? I need an answer to that. But politically, he's got a constitutional right to contest as a member, as a presidential candidate for the PF, because he's been a member of the PF. He was a member of parliament for them in Malambo constituency, and he was also provincial minister, Eastern Province. So in terms of governance experience, he's got the experience which he can probably use when you want to campaign for presidency. Because one of the things that I'm beginning to ask and suggest whenever we are going to elect someone to be the president, I think they need to have governance experience at some level. Because when you have someone who's got governance experience at some level, it will help them to talk about things that cannot be done and things that can be done. Because we are going to avoid the case that the video that you showed of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema when he was in opposition, he spoke about so many things that he was going to give the Jerabos. When we ask today if you want to kwenyu, you find that none of those things have been done because someone probably spoke just for politicking, not on the basis of what is feasible when you're in government and what is not attainable when you assume public office. So when you look at most of the presidential candidates that the PF have lined up, most of them have held senior government positions in government. And I hope, I just hope that if one of them will become the presidential candidate, they will still remain behind to give support to that person because they have got huge experience. Because the issue of saying they belonged to a political party that failed the nation, I think we shouldn't dwell too much on that. Because if you are not the president, there's someone who is the president, there's little or nothing that you can do for you to influence certain changes that the sitting president can make. So, yes, they might have failed as PF, but doesn't mean that their ideas cannot develop this country if given an opportunity. As an individual, that is.
All right, interesting. Let's look at Brian Mundubile, again, another presidential candidate who has received an endorsement coming from the 29 PF MPs. Let's have just a snapshot of the video, Director, within less than a minute, and then we begin to conclude.
Son of this country, who was PF president and also 6th Republican president of Zambia. This is Dr. Edgar Chagwa, who died on the 5th of June, 2025. Following the demise of President Edgar Chagwa, the party has been preparing to eagerly elect another leader to drive the PF back into government. We proudly take note that the PF remains the biggest political party in Zambia today, founded on the strong ideology to build Zambia to greater heights of economic, political, and social development. Today we are gathered here as members of parliament for the Patriotic Front to assure Zambians that their party of choice has heard their cries and deeply feels their suffering at the hands of the UPND government. In response, we want to state that we are on the path of liberating this country from the shackles of poverty, suffering, and disunity brought by the UPN government, amongst other atrocities.
Shame.
We have considered and analyzed possible candidates to take over from our fallen heroes, Dr. Edgar Chagwa. We also want to state that we have credible candidates contesting, and we recognize their potential.
Yeah.
We are not saying that they are any less. However, every season has its leader.
Yeah.
And indeed, every season requires certain qualities.
Yeah.
We have made our decision as members of parliament based on the need for a humble visionary leader with political and governance leadership experience, with a listening ear to implement the party manifesto and continue programs we left behind in 2021. We, the undersigned members of parliament, 29 in number, therefore announce that we endorse Honorable Brian Muntaya, Member of Parliament from Porokoso, former Minister of Northern Province, former Government Chief Whip, former leader of the opposition, as the person to take over from our late President Dr. Edgar Chagwa as our 2026 presidential candidate for the Patriotic Front.
All right, that's the story of Honorable Brian Mundubile. They are receiving an endorsement. Bigger.
What worries me about the PF is that the battles they have are many. First of all, you have battles with the Chavinga, which are external, semi-external to what's happening within the party. At this stage, what one would have expected is to see the Brian Mundubile camp, the given Lubinda camp, the Makebi camp, the Mutoto Kafwaya camp, all of them, first of all, just agree among themselves to say, gentlemen, we're too many of us. 10 for one position. Yes, it's showing democracy, but the way Zambians campaign, they're injuring each other in the process. So they are one party trying to show diversity and love for democracy, but their cadres are going at each other's throats. They are calling each other names and so on and so forth. What the Zambians would have expected is to see, because of all these other battles that the PF is fighting with the registrar, in the courts of law and all of that, they needed first of all in-house to just agree and say 1, 2, 3 maybe, let's streamline.
Right.
But you can clearly see that the number is increasing. You have new names like Mdolo, you have new names like Makebi. Already that creates a lot of friction and actually ordinarily be, coming together. And perhaps focus on identifying the vehicle that they are going to use. Not too long ago, Peter Chanda pulled out of Tons Alliance, and that was the initial vehicle that the PF chose that they would use. So as I said, we are likely to see a lot of political drama in the next five months. We can only wish the PF all the best, and may the best man win, but we hope that the environment will allow them to achieve what they want to achieve.
All right. Comment?
Well, it is interesting that Mr. Mundubile has managed to gain support within his house, that is the parliament, because when you get such support, it is an indication that probably the 29 members of parliament are also going to make an influence on part of the delegates from their constituencies when the voting will take place when they have the national convention, because that's an indication that he's got the support of members of parliament, and once you have that support, it gives a path to say, I think he's the man that people think they can work with. And like I did say before we came to this story, I'm beginning to have a strong view that whenever someone aspires for presidents, we need to have someone who has gotten governance experience at some level, like provincial minister, cabinet minister. That gives someone to have an opportunity to speak and campaign from an informed point of view, unlike what we used to be treated in the past. But however, I have one observation. We do not seem to have women in the PF interested to vie for presidency for the PF. It is a worry because I think women need to stand up and contest such positions. They should not just wait to say, no, maybe I'll be appointed as a running mate and so on and so forth. I think they can take a step forward and present themselves, and let's see if councillors or delegates that are going to come can give them support, because this is a democracy and they should not shy away from such opportunities whenever they present themselves.
All right, PK, I don't know if you would want to comment on Rafa Nakacinda's bail appeal.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just in passing, because this is an interesting matter. Lately, the issues of bail, granting of bail, has become very elusive, to say the least. You have so many people who have been convicted by the lower courts, and yet they've never been given their bail pending appeal. And what the lower courts are telling them is that your case has no chance of succeeding. But why must you be the jury and the judge? If your role was to convict at this level, allow the due process of the law to be exhausted. You can't be the same one who convicted them and be the same one to say your chance of succeeding at appeal are very slim. Allow the higher court to go and hear.
Say as well.
Yes, and when you grant bail, it acts as a stay, so that someone can actually walk out of Chimbokaila or Mwembeshi, be home with the family while pending, their case to be heard. That's a constitutional right, and that's the due process of the law. But what we have seen lately is a spate of bail applications being denied, as if to imply it is predetermined. The reason why this particular case of Nakacinda bail pending appeal is interesting to most Zambians is because they want to see that will it also fail at succeeding? Will he go back, or will he be granted? If he's going to be granted bail, what would be the special circumstances that will allow him to be granted, and what would be the special circumstances that have prevented others who are also under incarceration, from being given bail pending appeal? So this is very interesting, and in my view, there is a lot of pressure on the judiciary. Most people are saying the judiciary needs to do what is right, and so they are watching with keen interest, much more because most of these are surrounding cases to do with political individuals, so to speak, or people who served in the former regime. Other bail, applications are being granted, as long as maybe somehow you are not a PF member. It appears you can easily get bail. So the reason why I feel this case even qualifies to be analyzed is because of a number of cases that are piling up, and they're not being successful at getting bail. Are we seeing the judiciary that is suppressing the due process of the law, or are we seeing a judiciary that is acting on political expedience or instruction? We do not know. Also, all of these things are matters that need clarity in the minds of members of the public, and we will follow this particular appeal very keenly to see how far it will go.
Right, comrade, you may close.
I think one of the issues that I may not speak directly to the issue of Mr. Nakacinda,
right?
But you look at the case involving Fimba. Is it Fimba Opoke? He was given, is it a warning? A fine.
Yes.
Then when you look at pharmacists Jerome Kanyika, he was fined 150,000 kwacha. When these two individuals, they belong to the UPND.
Very interesting.
Lawyers will tell us no, matters are different, but then we're just looking at how cases are coming up. Okay, this one we can give. There's an option of giving. This one, let's keep them in behind bars. This one can come out. The issue of Mangala's Maria Zaromes, she can come out on bail. And she went on to contest for. It was going to be an interesting issue if she had won the Zambia National Farmers Union. Someone who's got a pending case.
But she has sued even. She has even sued the person who has won.
Yes.
So quite interesting. I don't think the judiciary needs to watch themselves on what they are doing, because Zambians are watching and saying, okay, quite interesting how things are coming up. So I hope Mr. Nakacinda will be given a favorable outcome.
Right. Okay, we end this evening. We're back again next week. PK, thank you so much. Speech analyst, thank you very much.
It's an honor and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, IP.
Thank you very much, IP. Good evening to our dear viewers.
Thank you so much. Allow me to thank all of you that have managed to tune in this evening to KBN TV, the analysis program. We will be back next week by the grace of God. This is IP. May God bless Zambia. May God bless Mother Africa.
Our media house is committed to upholding the highest standards of professional conduct and ethics. As part of our dedication and responsible journalism, we have subscribed to the Code of Ethics established by the Media Self-Regulation Council of Zambia, MSCZ. We value your feedback and take any concerns regarding our content or professional behavior seriously. If you feel aggrieved by any aspect of our operations, we encourage you to reach out to the MSCZ Media Ethics and Complaints Committee for assistance and resolution. To lodge a complaint or seek redress, you can contact the MSCZ Ethics and Complaints Committee via email at mselfregulation@gmail.com or by calling the dedicated mobile number for media violations at 260-777-348695. Alternatively, you may also send your complaints in writing to the following address: Chairperson, MSCZ Media Ethics and Complaints Committee, PO Box 32295, Lusaka, Zambia. We appreciate your support in helping us maintain the highest standards of professionalism and integrity in our journalism. MSCZ Media Ethics and Complaints Committee, promoting a professional and ethical media in Zambia.